That bawdy sense of humour, inherited from Louis, was put to brilliant use in the Carry On films.
There was a doctor there. He was brilliant. He looked just like you. I worshipped him, but he ignored it. Why, whenever I show any interest in a man, do they ignore it? Why? Haven't I got appeal?
Yes, but there's a banana, and I don't even want that.
But I feel you're different, Doctor. Don't you feel something?
No, I believe in keeping my hands to myself.
For that night in the hostel, you showed me your true feelings. Now I beg you, let me show you mine.
But I don't want to see yours.
Don't like it.
And the Carry On was a driven series. We know they made them in 6 weeks. They made them for almost unbelievably small budgets. They had to finish at 5:30 to the second, and so on and so forth. So there's a great deal of really hitting the mark, getting on with it, putting a lot in the... What was he like in that situation?
The wonderful thing about all the Carry-Ons was the fact, and all the people, they were all the same. There was no jealousy. There was nothing like that. In fact, if a line Kenny thought was better for Charlie, he would give it to Charlie, and like I would give it to Joan, or whatever. So there was a great feeling like that.
No, I wouldn't say there was a formula. It was well, they were all alike, weren't they? I mean, we've made 31 films out of one gag, I think. You can blame me for that.
Most of the time when you arrive at the studio, I mean, you were happy because you're going to see everybody. But there are other times when you think, oh, God, I've got this terrible location. Well, it wasn't a location at all. It was a field at the back. And you knew it'd be freezing cold. And then suddenly Peter Rogers would swan by in his Rolls Royce and bib you and say, hello! All so happy. You think, oh, God, it's all right for some. Oh, good morning, Sir Peter. How are you, darling?
I think the Carry On films, for instance, were tailor-made for Ken. I mean, that was his genre. That was his forte. I mean, right up his street, that stuff. You know, as I say, he wasn't the subtlest of actors, and he could overplay and be outrageous, and it was very funny. For instance, I saw Carry On follow that camel the other week, and I thought his German officer was wonderful.
Double the guard.
Yeah, got it. Double the guard? What for, sir?
I'm expecting trouble. Have you seen these?
Would you like to have them filled, sir?
Sergeant!
I mean, any woman wearing these can cause plenty of trouble around the port. Don't you worry, sir. I'll track her down. She won't lay a glove on you.
I did not get them from a woman, Sergeant.
Then from who, sir? Hello?
Hello.
Carry On films are constantly shown worldwide, but the actors were only paid a one-off fee and received no percentage of their profits. They were characterised by a remarkable, no-expense-spared production policy.
I mean, where would you have gone? To the Sahara? We built the fort at Canberra. It was the best sand I could think of. Unfortunately, we had a camel that wouldn't walk on sand. So we had to put those metal things down that you have at airports and then sprinkle sand on top of it. He'd never seen sand in his life. He came from the zoo.
In his diaries, he said, another pile of old rubbish I've got to do a Carry On film. I think he liked working with the people on the Carry On team. He enjoyed that very much.
Take two.
I said to him, well, why do you do these Carry Ons? He said, because it pays the rent.
The well-tried team, including Sidney James and Kenny Williams, Charlie Hawtrey and Joan Sims, are gathered with others of equal skill for the 21st production in a series that the pundits once dismissed until the public proved them wrong.
ITV showed Carry On Henry. Oh dear, it's so bad in places. Truly chronic dialogue, dreadful acting. Sid James has never been quite as bad as this.
You will be taken to a secret place and held prisoner.
Oh, how terrible. Will I never see my dear wife again? Go on, you're doing very well.
There you will be required to sign a confession of your wrongdoings.
Alas, I cannot help that. I was born with the wrongdoings.
A collection of such rubbish or amazing it ever be stuck together. Only an audience of illiterates could ever have found this tripe amusing.
Yeah. I think sometimes Kenneth Williams talked and talked. And sometimes he wrote in a very loud voice.
He didn't like...
Was he good to you especially, or was he like that with everybody?
No, you could see if he didn't like somebody. I mean, he wasn't all that keen on Sid.
I'm a car salesman by nature, a jockey by profession, and as far as the birds go,
He liked Charlie. He had a lot of time for Charlie. And when Charlie had a few drinks, every now and then Charlie would have one too many.
Wherever I wander, there's no place like Rome.
I remember him on the set with his mum, and Mrs. Hawtrey would come with him sometimes and have a cup of tea on the set. And they were sitting there on the set, and he was chatting away about this play he'd done. And he was telling us about playing two roles, and that he'd gone on as a lady and come out as a bloke, and so nobody knew who'd done the murder. You know, that sort of thing, and who done it, where he played both roles. And he was in the middle of this long dissertation about playing these two roles, when Joni Sims said, "Charlie, your mother's..." Because she'd had a fag and it dropped into the bag. An open handbag, and the whole of the reticule was ablaze. And Joni said, "Charlie, your mother's bag, Charlie." And Charlie had his cup of tea, and he said, "Oh yes," and he flung the tea into it. And she snapped it shut, and the whole sodden mass was confined.
I told you about the terrible, terrible conditions we worked under. Well, this is a prime example. Remember the famous Carry On camping scene? Well, this is where we did it. They said we were going to do it here. We said, it's impossible. It'll never look like sunny Cornwall. But of course it did. Remember the famous one with the bra coming off?
And up, and rest.
How did they get the bra?
They said we were going to get a fishing rod with a hook. Because, you know, they wanted the bra to come off like that. Well, if you do that, it won't. It will just go to the floor. And at the chosen time, we'll say action, and off it will come.
And fling, and in, and fling, and in, and fling. Matron, take them away. Stop laughing. We will continue.
Were your backgrounds similar? When you say you became the best of friends,
yeah.
is it to do with being Cockneys, living in a small same area of London?
Yes, I was always amazed. I thought he came from somewhere very posh. I thought like Oxford, and he'd been to college and all this. I couldn't believe it when I found out he came from the Caledonian Road.
He said to me one night when I arrived, come on in. Go in and read the lyric poets. I'm just launching a boil on Louis' bum. His mother called out, "Who's there?" He said, "Sorry, it's only Peter Nichols. He don't want to see your bum. You just read the Wordsworth and the Southey. Get on with it," he said to me. It was, you know, so it was sort of assimilating all that culture into this Cockney life in a hairdressing salon.
You've mentioned several times how well educated he was, and how you would ring him up if you wanted to find something out.
Rather than look it up in the encyclopedia or whatever, I'd phone him up and say, "Here, tell me, was it Louis the 15th or Louis the 16th who did so and so and so and so?"
As a scholar, my results were lamentable. I got appalling marks in practically every subject except English, and that was because I liked the English master. He took us for reading poetry aloud, Shakespeare, Tennyson, Browning, and he directed us in the school play. We rehearsed it up here, on the roof. It was called The Rose and the Ring, and he gave me a very good part, Princess Angelica, and I stomped around the stage with my feather duster saying, "Out of my way," to everybody, very aristocratically, I thought. Mind you, I had no real idea how aristocrats did behave. It was entirely instinctive. But I did rather well, and I got very good notice in the local paper, which pleased me. In fact, it was my first taste of performing. I really enjoyed it.
Kenneth Williams, with his mincing step and comical demeanour as Princess Angelica, was a firm favourite with the audience, to whom his snobbishness and pert vivacity made great appeal. First time a critic's got it right.
My old man, my father. No, well, my father, you know, my father was a hairdresser. He said, and he'd been in the army, and he said to me, "You've got to have a trade, boy. It's no good going," because I said, I wouldn't mind doing a bit. Acting is rubbish. All women are tarts, the blokes are puffs. You'll never make any money because it's too hazardous. You've got to have a trade, boy. You must have a trade. It was all din. You've got to have a trade.
Bonjour, guten Tag, buongiorno, shalom aleichem. I'm saying good morning. Just demonstrating 4 of the 16 languages I speak fluently. For your benefit, Mr. Twist, there must be a worthwhile appointment for me today. Please say there is.
please say there is? Mr. Courtney?
Yes.
There isn't.
Following his father's advice, Kenneth Williams took up an apprenticeship with Stamford's the Mapmakers as a trainee draftsman.
In fact, he was a very good draftsman. It's a pity he didn't carry on. He had a good job, a good steady job.